Hello, lovelies. Natalie, the old school otaku here. And, well, I figured it was high time for another video regarding my transition process. As you all know by now, I did have bottom surgery earlier this year, and I made a few videos discussing what all I was going on with that, what's it like to recover, what's it like doing the actual surgery, things like that. Well, at the same time I was in the process of prepping for that surgery, I was also working on prepping for another surgery, and that is for top surgery or breast augmentation, as it's called. And well, I've had it done. So I figured it might be good to talk a bit about the process and things like that, as well as, go into a little bit of what life has been like after said surgery, as well as, how the recovery is going, things like that. So I went for my breast augmentation uh, through the same hospital I went for my bottom surgery. So the Henry Ford Hospital here in the Detroit area, and I went to basically the same doctor that did the cosmetic side of the vaginoplasty, and that is Dr. Tepper with Henry Ford, and she did really great work with my bottom surgery, and so I trusted her to do a really good job with my top surgery as well. So after everything is said and done, I'm very pleased with the results so far. I mean, yeah, I'm not even a full week past when my surgery was. My surgery date was on November 20th, is when it ultimately happened. I had a few dates that kept sliding further and further back due to other complications, and I can go into those in a little bit. But ultimately, my surgery happened not at the main hospital this time, it was actually at a different location for Henry Ford, and it was fairly simple, fairly easy process going through. And the probably the most annoying part of all of it is that unlike Henry Ford Hospital, where I was allowed to bring in two people to be with me, I was only allowed to bring in one person, and unlike the Henry Ford Hospital, that one person was not allowed to come back into the prep room with me for any amount of time. So instead, we had to basically converse through text message and video chat and things like that. So it was definitely a different experience as far as that goes. But this was also an outpatient procedure. I went in the morning. I had to be there at 5:30 a.m. And then I was done, and they basically were kicking me out. Like, I think it was around 11:30 in the morning is when they were finally like really pushing to get me out the door. I was still hurting a little bit through all of that, but I was moving enough that I could actually get up and do that. So that's exactly what I did. Got up, went out, and finally ate food. So yeah. So what all was the process? What all was everything? So my initial first consultation with the doctor was back in February, in order to go over some of my likes, some of my wants, some of my desires, as well as get some initial measurements of what development I had, things like that. And then that allowed her to solidify kind of a basic game plan of what she was planning on doing for me. And then from there, it was going into scheduling and figuring out when my surgery would be. Well, she's a very busy woman, so unfortunately, the earliest she could get me in was October 10th, if I remember correctly. Here's the weird part about all of that: my bottom surgery was originally scheduled for October 12th. Um, so those are way too close together. They want you to have at least 6 months between major surgeries like that. Or not 6 months, sorry, 6 weeks between major surgeries, they want you to have at least. And so that wasn't going to work. But they were fairly confident that most likely they'd be able to move up my top surgery to much earlier in the year. It was just kind of determining of, finding that time, if there were bumps, things like that. Well, what ended up happening is that my bottom surgery got bumped up to June. So my top surgery, I was perfectly ready for my top surgery by the time October 10th came around. Well, I go into my pre-surgical visit, which was also a post-op for my bottom surgery, my final post-op with the plastic surgeon. They had multiple post-ops with each of the surgeons involved for that surgery, but I went in for the pre-op, and at that time, basically, they had just decided to make a new rule regarding the use of these popular weight loss drugs. I'm on one of them, though the version I'm on is for mainly diabetes because I am diabetic. The drug I'm on is Monjaro, and that's the diabetic version of, I believe, Wegovy is the main is the weight loss version of that drug. So those types of drugs, they have a tendency to slow down your digestive tract, and because of that, and how long they stay in your system, they actually wanted me to be off of that medication for 2 months before my surgery. Well, my surgery was originally going to be on the 10th, and then it was going to be on the 20th of, it was later moved to the 20th of October, and that wasn't going to work. It was way too soon. They wanted me to stop it right then and there, and so I did. I definitely stopped right at that point. In fact, unfortunately, I had taken it literally the day before. I went in for my pre-op. I had taken it that day before because that's when I normally take it. It's a once a week drug. So I stopped after that point, and that has been a struggle, believe me, for the last couple of months. Just with struggling with my food cravings because they're back with a vengeance. Struggling with my blood sugar levels because my sugar levels are just naturally, my resting blood sugar is relatively high. And so that medication has done a great job of helping me maintain all of that. And unfortunately, with this, without that drug, that's not happened. And unfortunately, it's caused me to gain quite a bit of weight. When I went in for my bottom surgery back in June, I was down to like 225. I'd lost like over 100 pounds from where I was. And when I went in and actually weighed myself the day before surgery, I was at 280. I gained back pretty much all the weight I'd lost over the past year. And that's disheartening to find out. But obviously, I know that that's something that can be corrected. I can get back into my diet once I'm allowed back on the medication. She does want me off it for another month. She wants to wait until my 4-week checkup before she will actually give me the okay to get back onto the Monjaro. Because apparently, while it does slow down your digestive tract, it also can slow down and make healing harder, supposedly, and a few other things. So it is what it is. And I'm dealing with it because I wanted this top surgery to happen. So, and it did, and I'm happy about it. But, I've got to deal with the ups and downs of it too. So that was an annoying setback. And because of that, because of all of that, they're like, well, we can't actually do the surgery for you on October 20th like originally planned. You're not fully out from that and whatnot. So they pushed it back to November 20th, which was nice for a few things. It allowed me to actually complete a few projects and things at work that I wanted to do. But it did make me very, very useless over this Thanksgiving holiday. I'm usually the one who does most of the cooking. And I like and love doing that type of cooking. So it saddens me that I wasn't able to do any of that help. And thankfully, my partner was able to assist. And she did a wonderful job for all of that, including a lot of the other things. I mean, this living room, this spot might look a little different from how it did during my previous videos. It's because I've moved. This is moved from the wall. We moved away so we can have a spot to actually put up a tree and whatnot. And we got some new furniture too, so things have moved around. And Unfortunately, I wasn't able to actually help with all of that because I'm not allowed to lift anything heavier than a paperback book right now. That is my restriction for the first week after surgery, and then after that, the restrictions do get easier, and they say that I can get back into more normal things. But it's going to take me a while to really get my strength back up and feel that I have my strength, because I know that I do not feel that strength right now, because of what all's been done to me. Um, and it is what it is. I mean, I went through the same thing with my bottom surgery too, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm kind of used to being on the mend, as it were, from other places, but this is an entirely new beast. Completely, entirely new beast. So, yeah, things got pushed, and whatnot. And then, of course, through all of that, basically what my doctor wanted to know was examples of how I wanted to look, basically. She wanted to kind of know what my goals were, how I wanted to look, things like that. And what she wanted was actual examples of other breast augmentations that were done so that she could gauge the size and things like that. And so I went out and found some places, and admittedly, it's actually kind of hard to find a lot of, really good before and afters of breast augmentations, including with details such as the actual implant size and things like that. So I was lucky, found a few that looked really good. They started off relatively small because I had some breast growth naturally. I was up to a B cup actually, and so I had some to start with. In fact, through the stopping of the medication and my normal HRT, I'd actually started another growth spurt as far as it goes. And so I was actually getting bigger and bigger. I was almost to the point where I actually needed to graduate from my B cup bras to C cup bras. So that allowed for more material for my doctor to work with in order to potentially get me even bigger. Because my goal was to get somewhere between a D to a double D. Now, bra math is entirely reliant on band size and everything else. So when I say a D for my size, because my band size is a 46, I'm a relatively wide lady. That's different from a B cup on a 36 band size or a 32 band size, things like that. So my B is actually more like F to G cups, for somebody who is, 10 inches smaller than me waist wise. Um, so when I say a D, I mean something that fits my frame, my profile. And that's what I was really ultimately going for, was something that would actually do that. Yeah, okay, I dream of having huge, tracts of land and whatnot, but to be realistic, I really just want my tops to fit me properly. And one of the things about wearing the size tops I tend to wear, they are made with these really large gussets for breasts, and they're expecting me to be considerably bigger than I was. And while Torrid makes lovely outfits and things that fit me really well, unfortunately, they're left with a lot to be desired as far as, I'm left with a lot to be desired in order to fill my top properly from Torrid. Because Torrid is expecting me to, because of how big I am, to be considerably bigger up top too, because that's just kind of how it goes. The bigger you are as a girl, the overall bigger you tend to get. So it's one of those things that has been annoying to me, and one of the main reasons why I wanted to go with augmentation once I got to 3 years or so on HRT, because while yes, your growth will actually continue much longer, you could take 10 years to fully meet your max potential of growth. Most of the main growth usually happens within the first 2.5 to 3 years, and that's basically where I am. I mean, my HRT date is October 20th. So the fact that all of this has worked out, it's just that I've hit effectively the end of my growth ish. I mean, I'm going to continue to grow after this, and that's fine because I would like to be a little fuller, a little bigger, and I am perfectly happy with that. This is just getting me there quicker, uh, getting me to that point where I feel comfortable, fully comfortable in my body, and I honestly can say that I do feel very comfortable in my body right now. Yeah, okay, I'm still in the process of adjusting to things because, this is considerably more weight on my frame than what I'm used to. And it has been an adjustment process. But by now, my surgery was on Monday. I'm recording this on Saturday. By now, my balance is almost perfect. I have no problems with, bending over, lifting my legs up, just to put my socks on or pull up my undies or things like that. So I don't have any of those issues anymore. I mean, early on, the first couple of days, I needed quite a bit of assistance to move because I didn't have full range of motion yet. And I'm back to a point where I feel like I have most of my range of motion. I'm still learning how to operate my range of motion, actually, because it is obviously different. I have something in the way now, and so that is taking some getting used to, uh, as it were. But it's all part of the healing process, and I'm willing to continue to let that go. So yeah, all of this leads up to the current day, and like I said, what I wanted for my doctors, I wanted to be somewhere between a D to a double D cup size is what I was looking for, and I think she hit that actually in the end. But a lot of what I wanted is I was not happy with the way my breasts were formed. They were very wide set, very outward set, things like that. I wanted them to be a little bit more even, a little bit more, if possible, a little bit more symmetrical. Um, I know naturally, breasts aren't supposed to be completely symmetrical, and that's fine. I think mine are still a little in the asymmetrical side of things, so that's fine too. But bring everything a little bit closer, bring it a little bit more towards the center. One of the issues that I have is I have to wear really fancy push up bras in order to get any amount of cleavage. And so that's one of the things she wanted to help create for me is more easy and viewable and seeable cleavage. And I think she accomplished that fact as well. So those are like a lot of my goals. And obviously, I wanted more projection. I wanted to be obvious that I have breasts. And I think all of those have been hit. Obviously, they're still in the healing process, and that's why they're as perky as they are right now. They actually, just to get into some of the post surgery stuff, they don't want me wearing a bra right now. Instead, I have tape. You can actually see some of it here. I've got tape that's actually taping my breasts up into these uh, Laura Croft 90s triangle breast shape, as a couple of my partners have pointed out. And that's just how they naturally are right now, being held up and by the tape and whatnot. But as they settle, and they will settle over the next few months to more normal size and well, not size, but they'll settle into a more normal shape, a more natural shape. Right now, they're not very natural looking at the moment, but that is something that will change as the months go on and they start to settle, they start to droop and really get into that teardrop shape ultimately. Um, but for now, this is what this is what it is. I'm wearing that, and I actually have a waist cincher. I've got this bandage around my tummy because overall the surgery I had was, of course, breast augmentation with implants. Silicone implants is what we went with, but it also included fat grafting. They actually did fat transfer from my belly and moved it into my breasts in order to help fill out the overall profile and help create more of that cleavage in the end. And I got quite a bit actually put in. I think in the end, I ended up with 770cc silicone implants. They are It's not the textured implants. It's the smooth implants, standard circular size, because when they're held up, they actually turn into that teardrop shape. So you don't need to have pre-shaped or any of that. Just go with the normal defaults. And I got a chance to see them on the next to the operating table as I was brought into the OR. Uh, and outside of that, she also put in 345 cc's worth of fat into each, pulled from my stomach via liposuction, and that's why I've got this binder on. I'm not quite as big here as this makes it look right now because I've got this extra bandage on, and this is here to help hold me in. Because of all of that liposuction, I can actually see when I take this off, my stomach kind of divots in, where they took a lot of that fat out. So that's just a side effect of everything is that. And honestly, when it comes to the pain that I felt more pain from my stomach than I have from my breasts at all, actually. And I have a really, really nasty welt, bruise here on my side from that work that was done because they really pounded me with that liposuction to pull out that fat. But it was definitely interesting to see. I mean, I went in day of surgery. I actually checked, I weighed myself morning of surgery, and I had, I think I was at 270. Weighed myself that night after I'd had a chance to drink and eat and enjoy myself, and I was up to 295 pounds. I'm back down to a more even weight of 280 now, but still, that's a considerable amount of extra weight that was added into my frame, as it were. But that's something that I'll compensate for later as I get back into my weight loss routine. So, yeah, I mean, going into everything, one of the other annoyances that went into the actual surgery itself was the fact that I was not allowed to eat for 24 hours before my surgery. So I knew that I was supposed to arrive at 5:30 a.m. So 5:30 a.m. Monday mornings when I was supposed to show up. So I was not allowed to eat all day Sunday. And what I did is I had what I called my last meal. I had a big plate of pasta. I made a huge batch of pasta before that night, Saturday night. Ate at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I ate this huge plate of pasta to try and fill myself up. And then I was allowed to eat Jello, but that was really about it. Jello and drink Kool-Aid and things. So I was starving. And then at 11 o'clock Sunday night, I was not allowed to have any food, any drink, nothing. And that was hard. I mean, I've been through a few surgeries. I understand that protocol and I'm used to that protocol, but at the same time, that really sucks to have to basically dehydrate yourself and starve yourself for so long. No food, no drink. That whole entire morning, my stomach was growling. I was just so hungry. And when I got out of surgery, when I was in the recovery room, I was so thirsty. I was just completely parched. I was not maintaining any sort of fluids in my system. And they did give me an IV, which was nice. But by the time I was waking up, they'd pulled the IV out of me and were really just waiting for me to wake up to kick me out the door. So it was, that day afterwards, I was like, you know what? Let's go pick up my medication, get me on medication. They gave me a little bit of narcotics. The medication they gave me, they called Norco. It's hydrocodone, basically. And I was on some of that, and we went from there, out to Portillo's, because I really love Portillo's, and I was really hungry, and really thirsty. And so I was drinking bottle after bottle after bottle of Gatorade and Kool-Aid and water, and I think I went through 3 refills of a large soda at Portillo's, and I'm sitting there eating, and it tasted so good. It was just like, oh, it's so salty. This is lovely. I'm enjoying the flavor. I'm actually feeling all of this goodness in me. It was wonderful. Um, but it was a long day, and I got home and sat down on my chair and started, getting into the cadence of taking medications. I'm on a bunch of different medications that I'm taking 3 hours apart from each other, is the way they're doing it, and that's been definitely interesting to deal with. And I can kind of get why they're trying to do it, because they're not wanting me to become reliant on the narcotic drugs, because they are addicting, and I think they've done a good job of that. I was on them fairly regularly for the first couple of days, but yesterday, I have not taken any narcotics at all, and I'm getting by with just Tylenol, and it's lovely. I'm moving around, I'm enjoying myself, dancing a little bit when I can, and just getting to live my life, albeit a little bit on the lower end side of what I usually do, because I can't lift right now, and so I'm very grateful that my partners are around to help, and keep me moving and whatnot. It is so annoying sleeping on my back. So annoying sleeping on my back. They want me to basically sleep on my back for the first week. I'm to the point where I can actually stand to be partially on my side, but I need a pillow or whatnot at my back in order to help prop me up. I can't really just stay on my side right now, and I think it's supposed to be that way for another week or so afterwards, with the information that I've been given from the doctor on what my procedure is supposed to be. And right now I'm waiting for them to give me the okay to start doing massaging of my breasts. I've started a little bit, moving around, trying to see, can I cup them together, and how much range of motion do I have with my arms and things like that. And it's definitely interesting to see that. I mean, before going in, one of the big memes is, if you can touch your elbows together, you're flat. So I did that beforehand and wanted to see how that worked. And I had enough growth naturally myself that I think I had about this much distance between my elbows. But now, not quite so much. Now, that's going to change as things settle, because right now I'm very perky, very up. And as they droop and get more natural size and a little bit more elasticity, it'll get better. And those massages will definitely help. The massage they told me that I will be doing is called a lymphatic massage, and they actually told me to just go to YouTube and look that up. Maybe if you all are interested, once I actually learn how to do them and start actually doing them, maybe I can show y'all how it's done, if that's something you are interested in seeing. Otherwise, it's really just, how has my recovery been? And it's been pretty good, actually. It's not been without pain. This has been a very painful process. I mean, they took a ton of fat out of my belly and moved it up to my breasts. They took these rather large silicone implants and put them into my breasts. They cut me open in a few different places, and the scarring's supposed to be very minimal. And once they get the tape off and I can start actually doing scar care, it should actually go down really, really well. Vitamin E ointment works really well, and then there's another ointment that they have me on called Aquaphor. Yep, here it is, Aquaphor. I was using these on the incisions from my bottom surgery, actually. So I've got a couple of different things to help with the scarring to minimize that and whatnot. But all in all, this is in order to get me to basically how I have always kind of seen myself in my inner mirror, as it were. And now my body is getting to that shape. The shape is a little bit wider than I would like, but that's fine. Once I can get back onto my medication and really start my weight loss again. I mean, I'm in healing mode right now. I should not be starving myself. Well, right now, I should be eating all of the calories that my body needs in order to power itself so that it can heal and bring me back to where I was before. And so that's fine. I'm expecting to gain a little bit more weight here, especially going into the holidays. Uh, Holidays are always difficult for any weight loss journey, really, and so that's fine. I expect to gain a bit more weight and whatnot, but it's kind of funny. One of the best ways to feminize your look actually is to do what's called weight cycling. So you lose quite a bit of weight and then you gain that weight back. But what happens is the weight that gets lost, the fat that gets used, is actually the oldest fat in your body. And so the methodology of it is, your body actually uses the fat that was placed by testosterone, uses that fat, and then when you regain your fat, you actually regain it, and it builds in the places that estrogen determines it should be placed. So you have a tendency to get more in the way of the hips and add to the booty and add to the breasts and fill out your face more, things like that. So I think from a lot of that, I've effectively done a bit of weight cycling a little bit earlier than I wanted to. I wanted to wait till all of my surgeries were done before I started weight cycling, and I wanted to lose a little bit more weight before I actually did that. Sorry, I had a timer went off. Like I said, I'm on this medication, 3 hour time. I actually took it a little early, so it's fine. So yeah, I've kind of done a bit of weight cycling myself, and I think that's kind of helped fill me out a little bit more. And I plan to do more of that once I can actually, get back down to the weight I want to be, because I want to try to get down close to, it would be my ideal weight. Ultimately, where I'd want to get to is like 175. I'd like to get to like 175, go up to 225, and then weight cycle down and up those 50 pounds. So like I would want to do that a few times. Will I be able to do that ultimately? I don't know. I think I'd be fine if I weigh somewhere between 200 to 225 ultimately. And I think I'll be happy with that if I can get back down to that level. And I was down at 225, and I felt great. I thought I looked great. A lot of this chin thing was gone. It's just kind of funny. I was seeing lines in my face, something I hadn't seen before. I'm like, wow, I must be getting old. And for a girl in her 40s, I think I look pretty good. So, and my partners tell me that I look pretty good too. So, I guess I'll take their word for it as well. But yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about all of this. I mean, the getting over everything has definitely been an adjustment period. I mean, they did a lot to me. And it's kind of funny when I think about it. The first couple of days, what I really felt was this pressure all along my breasts. And what that was, obviously, is the pressure of the implants pushing out on my skin and everything. But it was a very similar feeling to what I had always envisioned what it would feel like, actually. I always thought it would feel very similar to back in the day when I wore breast forms. I had breast forms that were concave on the inside, so I could fit, what breast I had inside the form, and the form would kind of cup. And so I'd just feel this pressure all throughout of, those silicone breast forms that I had all around my breast. And now what I was feeling was that all around my breast, but on the inside pushing out. It's a little awkward to kind of explain that feeling, but if any of you have worn breast forms and, you might understand what I'm talking about, that feeling of pressure and whatnot, that's effectively what I was feeling uh, early on. Now, I'm feeling very normal now, actually. My body is starting to get used to the added weight and all of that. And so it's starting to just feel normal to me now. You know, if I'm on my side, I might feel a little bit as things move. But for the most part, my normal, sitting up or laying down, I hardly feel anything. And that's to me just amazing on top of, everything else. But, the human body just kind of adapts and it's like, oh yeah, this is what we are now. This is what we have. This is normal. And it's really amazing to me just how normal and natural all of this feels to me now. And I love that fact. So yeah, I guess at this point, I've got a bit more time to rest and recuperate. They don't want me back to work yet. Obviously, I've been on narcotics. They don't even want me driving right now. But basically, the my post op is on Tuesday, so my surgery is on Monday, and then the following week, the following Tuesday, is when my post op is scheduled for a little bit more than a week after. And that's when the first post op, and they're supposed to remove the tape and check the incisions and whatnot. And at that point, I'm supposed to be fitted with a compression bra to help hold me in and up. And I'll be wearing that for a few weeks afterwards. And then they actually say that compression bra will start feeling loose on me. And at that point, I can switch to wearing normal bras. Now, what they don't want me wearing is underwire at all. I think they said they don't want any underwire for at least 6 weeks and potentially up to 2 months after the surgery before I could start wearing underwire. I hate underwire bras, so I don't really own many. I think I own like one or two for very specific occasions. Whether or not those fit me anymore, I have no clue. I am so much looking forward to going back into Torrid here in a week or two in order to get myself remeasured, in order to see just what my size is and start looking into getting some some new bras. I did ahead of time buy a couple normal bras, what I call my lazy bras. I bought a few of them ahead of time already at my current bands, what my band size has been, 46, and I bought D cups. I did try them on a little bit, and they might be a little small for me, but I'll know more once everything's said and done, and I can really try to get into them. And if they are too big for me, well, I guess I got to go up, either up a band size or up a cup size. We'll see. I mean, I did say that I think the doctor may have hit me up closer to a double D, actually, and that's fine. So we'll see where I'm at once all this is said and done. But yeah, that's kind of what it is. So I should most likely be going back to work here next week um, after the original rest period goes on. They say after the first week, I can really start to ease myself into my normal activities, and I have already started easing myself into my normal activities, just knowing where my limits are and stopping at those limits. Um, you know, as long as I'm making sure that I have all of my medication with me and I take them on time and whatnot, everything has been fine. Not really had any issues. Way less issues of pain than what I had with my bottom surgery. The fact that they didn't have to hold me upside down in order to work on me for multiple hours definitely helped. A lot of the pain I actually had from my bottom surgery was in my back because of how they actually do that surgery. So this one was much better in that regards. I'm just dealing with this lovely bruised tummy of mine. None of it looks pretty right now. I mean, I look considerably better now than I did going in the first day or so, because a lot of my swelling, well, almost all of my swelling is gone. But the bruising has started to subside and whatnot. I still have quite a bit of bruising, and that'll probably take a couple of weeks to really fully go away. Especially the huge bruise I have in my side. That'll take a while to fully disappear, but it is what it is, and I'm working through it. So yeah, I am so happy that I went through and did this. Much like my bottom surgery, this top surgery is actually supposed to be handled by my insurance. So as of right now, I don't know ultimately how much it costs, but I do at least know that they put in 770 cc's of silicone and 345 cc's worth of fat. So I have over a liter worth of material added into each breast. So these are fairly large implants, as it were. I've started off with quite a bit of material, and now I've got quite a bit more. And I'm looking forward to see how everything turns out once I'm fully healed and everything's said and done. And if y'all have any questions, anything that you want to know, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. If you have me on Twitter, feel free to message me there or any of the other places on social media that I'm available. If I get enough questions that warrants another video, I will definitely make another video. And I plan to make at least another 1 or 2 videos just to kind of check in with y'all on how I'm doing with my recovery and whatnot. Unfortunately, because of all of this recovery work that I've been doing, I've not been able to get to the old school otaku part of my channel, but I am working back towards that too still. So hopefully I should have some new, fresh, fun content for y'all soon as far as that. But for now, I'm happy. And I look forward to seeing y'all again next time. This is Natalie, the old school otaku, signing off.